Hey, it's Mission 8 Survival. Today we're going to be working on some arrows. Stay tuned. You just have to feel the bevel and know exactly where it is as you go, and you can take off huge pieces at a time. So for target arrows, I put the fin in the back, and that's why this is a little fatter than I usually go, because it's a little more robust. And I put the thick end for that like blunt force in the front, and you just carve a nice shallow point on the front, you know, almost like a convex edge, right? So when it hits, it has strength. It's not really sharp, you know. That's like that with all things. If you make the grind too sharp, it's fragile. If you make it kind of fat on its shoulders right here, going towards the point, it has strength on the way in. So same deal. So I'm gonna go with the skinny side and back, fat side and front, so I can make a target arrow. Now these target arrows can also be used for small game, you know, squirrels, woodchucks, Canadian geese, you know, rabbits, all that stuff, no problem at all. Raccoons, right? These arrows are, you know, multi-use. You know, they're not only good target arrows, but they're also can be used for small game hunting. So I'm gonna just imagine my nock is back here, pull it as if I have a full draw. Okay, even though my survival bows don't even have a full draw, I usually stop like here somewhere, I still pretend, right? Because in that way, if my tip gets beat up and breaks on me or splits or whatever the case, I can cut it back a little bit past the break and still have a serviceable arrow. So instead of making my arrow the perfect length, and then if it breaks, it's a broken arrow, at least I'm giving a chance of I can cut a little bit back and fix it. Okay, so now I have to straighten this beast, right? It's not very straight right now. So I'm going to sight along it, find a spot that clearly isn't straight anymore. Start working on bending it. Right about here. It's another way of doing it. This is the way that I prefer. Where you hold your hand steady here and you put the part that needs to be bent right at your palm. And then you work on twisting your hand this way, and you use the arrow this way. The arrowhead. I'm sorry, the arrow shaft. To that. This thing has a lot of bend in it. Also use your knee. I like to do this on really big bends. Now it's green, so it's okay to bend it a lot. Now you're going to hear some cars and things like that far off in the distance. There's a highway, a big highway, about a quarter mile across this river, across the forest on the other side is a big highway. So that sound travels right through those woods, right across that river, and into these woods over here. Usually the closer I get it, the less I have to use the stronger bend of my knee. Then I can just start tweaking it with my hand. I like working on these green for quick arrows. Alright, that's a good straight section right there. Alright, now the way that I bend all the way at the end, see if there's a bend far down the end of the shaft, it's like right here, it takes a hard turn, you don't have the leverage of pulling on this short side. You just can't bend it. Then all you have to do, so you have to bend it like right here, is use the bottom of a tree. I'm going to just change my my cut here. It gets thin right here, so I'm going to go against the opposite side. There we go. That way it doesn't crumble. Okay, so I need to bend it like right about here somewhere. So I'm going to hold it about where I need to bend it. And I'm going to... See, it needs to bend about here. I'm going to push down. I'm going to stop it on the tree. I'm going to push down. And start pulling up. Check my work as I go. Alright, so I'm just working on straightening it a little bit more. Looks like it's good enough for now. So I can show you guys. Alright, so the next step is carving it, putting my point on the front, rough point, not too big of a deal, not perfect just yet, and putting in my knock for my string back here. I want to do that now before I put the fletchings on, so I don't hold my fletchings and mess them up while I'm fiddling around. So I'm going to get going on that. Okay, so here's my dull point. As you can see, that forsythia is hollow, so I just push it into a rotting stump and I fill it up with wood. Every time I shoot this into stumps and things, it's just gonna pack until it's solid at the end. So that's good enough, not really a big deal. So now I'm gonna just cut my knocking on this side, and I carry on my EDC a little folding saw. This one's by Tops Knives. I just got it for free. I was instructing somewhere and they're giving them out. But that's usually what I use. You know, it's cut right down. I clean it up with my knife. But I'm gonna pass on that and use only my knife for this. So this will be a knife-only arrow. So I'm gonna start cleaning up the spot that I want to work on. I've already given it symmetry. I've already made it all even. So I'm going to just make the top flat now. So the way I start this, put my knife in a reverse grip. I reinforce it with my thumb. Put it where I want to cut. And I just go straight up. So I'm just outlining how wide I want it to be. I'm cutting in the middle of it, loosening the grain that's in the middle of those outside cuts. And I take my knife, I push it in a little bit, directly in. So I just cut all those lines. I cut straight grooves. Then I put my knife in this way and it severs them. See that? How it's starting? That's all there is to it. You don't need to use a saw or a multi-tool saw, anything like that, to make arrows. So, I'll do some more work on this. I'll get back to you. Looks good enough. Alright, so then I just take my bowstring, hold it tight, and I sand the inside with the string slightly. Smooth the bottom, smooth any rough cut edges. Kind of marry them together a little bit. As you can see, I put some tar from the bank line on there.